please welcome to the stage another great comic who I love. He's amazing, also sexy. The incredible Mark Addison! The Night Cabaret! So good, so good.
Hey, what's going on? So, when I put on this outfit tonight, I stood in my mirror before I left and I was like, I look like a lesbian phys ed teacher on school picture day. So I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? I hate the fact that you're dropping names, but you want to hear my Barbara Streisand story on the podcast? So my ex is actually an inventor, and he invented this product which is for people having heart attacks. You're supposed to chew aspirin. Well, how often do men carry aspirin with them? So it's a little thing, it's like a key fob that has punch-out aspirin in it. Well, the leading killer of women, which people think, they don't know, is heart disease. They think it's breast cancer, stuff like that. Well, so I went to this big fundraising thing, and not only was Barbara Streisand there, it was at Donna Karen's house.
Oh my
God! So I was going through every bedroom trying to steal sheets, and I was like, I'll take the sheets, you steal Barbara Streisand, let's hit it. I've never been a big fan of hers though, so there you go. So hi, how y'all doing? I am Mark Addison, the one and the only. What's up? I recently got out of a 14-year relationship. I know, yeah, please, I'm not sad about this. And I was actually doing stand-up comedy before I got into this relationship, and my stick has always been very pessimistic, very glass half empty. But then when I met somebody and fell in love, I didn't think people would want me on the microphone going, flowers are pretty. But now I'm proud to say that flowers are no longer pretty and the bitch is back. And normally, my ex does come to a lot of my shows, and this is the part of the show where I always go, and the asshole's here. He's right over there. But in kind of true fashion, the motherfucker didn't make it tonight. And so, we actually met at a sex party. And the first words he ever said to me were, "Can I suck your dick?" Now, do you know how hard it is to find a one-year anniversary card that encapsulates the sentiment, "Can I suck your dick?" Hallmark does not make one. So I had to write my own. I wrote, "I'll never forget what you said so long ago. On your cock may I blow." And my name is Mark. My ex's name is Mark. How narcissistic is it to date someone with your same name? Because sometimes we'd be doing it and I'd be like, "Wow, Mark, you're amazing tonight." And I wasn't always talking to him. So when gay marriage was being passed in New York City, everybody kept saying, "Are y'all going to get gay married? Are y'all going to get gay married?" Well, for me, gay marriage has always been kind of, well, gay. And you know, I understand why it happens because of benefits and insurance and all that shit. But one thing I could get behind was gift registry. Because all these bitches I've gotten cake platters for, it was now time for them to have registration in one hand at a sex shop, because you know that's where I'm registered. And for them to sit there and look at it going, "I think he wants the assless chaps in a 32-32. Believe it. And lube in a big industrial strength pump size. And so, since we didn't get gay married, which after 14 years was done, I could have gotten half, I decided to move out to Crown Heights. Yeah, well, I did decide, that was kind of forced on me. Yeah, where I've had more black men in me than the Underground Railroad. Yeah, so, you know, when we first broke up, it was like the first time I lived by myself in 14 years. We shared joint custody of a dog, and I thought, you know what, this is gonna fucking suck. I haven't slept by myself in so long, blah, blah, blah. Honey, 2 days in, I was sleeping diagonal in that queen size bed, watching what the fuck I wanted to on TV. And my dog, whom I love, when she's getting on my last fucking nerve, she goes away for a week, and right when I'm starting to miss her, here she comes back. And in between, there may be anywhere from 8 to 20 people in my bed. It's good times. Yeah. So when I was in college, I was actually house sitting for a friend of mine. And obviously, when you house sit for a friend of yours, you want to watch their porn collection. So I'm sitting there watching porn, listening to music. The porn was called Ass Man and the Wasp, which I thought was going to be about a large black man fucking Anderson Cooper, but I digress. So I'm sitting there watching porn, listening to music. Now this is how old he is. He had a 5-CD disc changer, and all of a sudden the CD changes, and well, I know I should have gotten up and changed the CD, but my hands were full, believe it. And the CD and the porn slowly started to sync up. Oh, I forgot to mention what the CD was. It was the soundtrack to Les Mis. So all of a sudden it goes, it'll come, and it did. And there I was, jerking off on my own. Yeah, so when I was younger, I was in love with the Little Mermaid. All I wanted her to do was to be part of my world. But then, after thinking about it as an adult, you know that bitch had crabs. And, you know, they recently did the live-action version of The Little Mermaid, and you remember everybody was all up in arms about the Black Little Mermaid. And I was like, you know what? Y'all need to calm the fuck down. We don't know what mermaids look like because they don't exist. I said, the problem I have with the Black Little Mermaid is I didn't think black girls like to get their hair wet. And then to add insult to injury, they made Ursula into a white woman, played by Melissa McCarthy, which was just another example of a white woman trying to steal black girl's voice. And then, you know, they also have recently done the live-action version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, except they axed the and Seven Dwarfs part and just called it Snow White. Well, Peter Dinklage, you know that dwarf from Game of Thrones? And I checked, we can call them thrones. So Peter Dinklage got all up in arms and all up on his soapbox because Disney was using CGI dwarfs and not dwarf actors. And Disney came back and said that they had consulted the dwarf community, which I can only assume is a very small community, and their reactions were quite varied. Some were happy, some were grumpy, some were sleepy. Yeah, a lot of times when I tell that joke, people are like, ha ha, oh, and I'm like, is that joke too short? Is that joke? I'm the youngest of 4 kids, and my closest sibling is 9 years older than I am. So it goes Jimmy, Gary, Darla, wait, oops, Mark. And my dad was a hairdresser, shut up. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom. At one point, my sister was second runner-up to Miss Texas. She got beat out by a ventriloquist. So I used to joke with her, go, how bad must your child have been to get beaten out by a ventriloquist? So later in life, in order to bring honor back to our family, I, at one point, was Mr. Gay Texas. Oh, for applause, for applause, yeah. And then you guessed it, second runner-up to Mr. Gay All-American. It went to California, which was a much more liberal state. However, abortion was legal in Texas back then. And so I was second runner-up, which is really fucking third place. And so my brother Gary calls me Math. Now you may be asking yourself, why, Mark? Are you good at math? Negative. He calls me Math because my last name is Addison. And to him, math stands for Mark Addison the Homo. Okay, it's really baby steps. It's really, really baby steps. And recently, my brother had been parking his Corvette in my mom and dad's garage. And after thinking about it for a little while, I called him up and was like, hey Gary, has anybody been charging you rent to park your small penis car in mom and dad's garage? And he goes, no, that's not a small penis car, that's a big penis car. And I said, negative, that's not the way the rest of the world sees it, because Gary plus Corvette equals small penis. And that's just simple math, motherfucker. So have y'all seen that Charmin toilet paper commercial, the one with the cartoon bears? Have y'all seen that one? Which, I guess that answers that age-old question, does a bear shit in the woods? No. Evidently, it shits in a bathroom and uses Charmin toilet paper. And for a while there, their tagline was Charmin for a bare bottom. So anytime I go, fucking chubby hairy guy, I take a 4-pack of Charmin because it's Charmin for a bare bottom. Yeah, when I tell that joke at straight places, I'm like, you know what, if y'all don't get that, y'all need to get some more fucking gay friends. So this is the final thing to say. You know, the holidays always really suck for people. You know, everybody's nervous about it. You have to deal with all the crap. And I really do get nervous around the holidays because, you know, a lot of people have family traditions of baking gingerbread cookies and going Christmas caroling. Not my family. My family's Christmas tradition is death. My grandmother passed away on Christmas Day, 2007, My dad passed away on Christmas Day 2019, and my mom passed away. She held on for one more week on New Year's Eve 2024. So I decided to convert to Judaism because if you know me, strictly speaking, there's a good chance you could perish around the Christian holidays. And, you know, as much as death sucks, inheritance is nice. And so, yeah, been hired a lot of hookers lately. I'm no kidding. I really haven't. My parents were Southern Baptist missionaries too. Can you imagine them looking down from wherever they're up or from wherever they're looking and going, "We left this kid money and he's hired hookers? What the fuck?" They would say what the fuck. So yeah. But when I was younger, my mom, I was actually a little bit of a child star. Hi, how you doing? I did my first show, Sound of Music, with Betty Buckley when I was 8 years old. And let me tell you, she is as crazy as you fucking think she is. I mean, batshit crazy. All I really remember, I played Kurt, God bless Kurt, and all I really remember about her was we would be on stage singing about our favorite things, and then the song would end, and we were in her way trying to get off for a quick change or something, and she'd be like, "Get the fuck out of my way!" And I was like, "I'm 8 and you're 9. What the fuck is going on here?" And so all I remember is the stage manager having to walk her dogs, cussing about it, going, "This motherfucker out here." And she, at one point, I became really good friends with her brother, and when she did Sunset Boulevard, I came up here to see it, and she was doing this thing called scream therapy, where when she was not on stage, she would scream everything. Like, she would go to Starbucks and be like, "I need a running!" I'm like, "Oh, these poor motherfuckers are like, what is this woman doing?" Yeah, and then she got in trouble once upon a time because she was burying all her dead animals in Central Park. No, she is crazy. Betty Buckley, yes. Betty Buckley is crazy. Yeah. And then when someone was talking about Mamma Mia earlier, and I tell you, God love y'all. If y'all like that show, you need help. I hate that show with every ounce of my being. I had a really good friend in it. She was understudying for one of the leads. She got me house seats. I had to hold my program in front of my face like this the whole time because I didn't think people would want to see me going. Because, I know in jukebox musicals, you can always tell when the song is about to happen. And there's that one line where one of the main characters is talking to one of the ladies, and she goes, she's saying that she has a crush on him, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm done with women." And he goes, "What?" She goes, "Well, if you change your mind." I'm like, "Oh my God, this is way too much." I was like, all that's missing from this show is the deaf grandfather, and at the wedding reception, they roll him up to the band, and they're like, "Can you hear the drums, Fernando?" So I always said that show was never going to succeed, but they put it in their winter garden where bad shows succeed because they're at their winter garden. Because recently I was in Times Square and I saw that show for Back to the Future. It said premiering 2022. And I thought, you know what, these motherfuckers have a time machine. Couldn't they go to July 2022 and somebody go, "This was not a good idea," because it looked like it definitely was going to be a bad idea. And I actually was a theater producer at one point too, and I got asked to do Rocky the Musical. And I was like, "I think you answered your own question there with the phrase Rocky the Musical." Absolutely not. I want nothing to do with this. And I was like, "And what's that 11 o'clock number going to be?" Just him screaming. And then they were trying to encourage me to get me to do it. And they said, "You know what? It's been really popular in Germany." And I said, "So is David Hasselhoff and Hitler. I'm not so sure that Germany is what we should take as the barometer for things in good taste." So yeah, last thing I'll say is when I was younger, my mom put me into ballet class. No, I hated it. Don't woo. That's no woo. That is no woo. I actually hated it. And after 3 weeks of being bullied and being bullied by girls, I said to my mom, I said, "Mom, I am no longer taking ballet class, and I'm putting my foot down."
Yes!
Yeah, it's kind of a visual joke. It's a visual joke. And she said, "Is that your final position?" And I said, "No, this is." Thank you, Holland Morgan. Okay, I don't feel like I say this enough, but fuck Trump. There you go.